Okay, everyone, the purpose of this video is to show you how to annotate some cross sections. One of the comments that we got from our State Road 700 review was that we needed to label the front slope of each of the cross sections. That's per the FDM. And one of the problems that we've had in the past is that once we did annotate it, we would end up getting double text and stuff like that. And so obviously we don't want that. Another issue is that when we annotated, we didn't know how to turn on off like the existing pavement cross slopes and then the shoulder cross slopes. So I've kind of figured out a workaround. I'm sure there's probably a better way to go about doing it. I just kind of figured this out yesterday, and so I haven't had a whole lot of time to really dig in and learn the intricacies of the software and how to make it work exactly the way that I'd like it. But this is at least a good introductory tool to go ahead and learn how to start, and I think it's going to help us out on this project. We have 10 miles of cross sections, so about 200, 300, something like that cross sections. We've got to label the front slope. Doing that manually is going to take a ton of time, and so I wanted to look into it and see what could be done, and this is what I found. So yeah, start off, and I'm going to make a mistake right off the bat just to kind of show you what happens when you do something wrong. To start out, we've got to change or make basically a whole new annotation group. I've talked with Mitch about this. We've talked about creating separate, multiple groups, but that's a different discussion. So I'd get with him if you want to know more about that. But you can see here under Open Road Standards, under the Explorer, there is no annotation group currently present. The reason I made this mistake is as a reminder for everyone, you need to be in at least the 3D model in order to get started with us. So under Explorer, in the 3D model, now you'll see the annotation group. And we want to go down to cross sections, drawing, and this is the annotation group that's currently there. So if I were to go into the cross section and try to place the annotation group, oh, sorry, I pulled it off the screen. To place the annotation group, a whole bunch of things would come in along with it. I'm opening up the properties. Here we go. You see it varies. There's a whole, that meaning there's a whole bunch in that annotation list. So these are all the annotations that would come in if I just ran the annotation group as it is right now. But what we care about is only the front slope and back slope. So I know that these are this left slope annotation and the right slope annotation. So I've got to basically isolate this list to only print those two. The way that we found at this point how to do this is to create a second annotation group. So I'm going to copy this, and we'll just call it cross-section annotation demo, since we're demonstrating it on this video. So now that I have that, I'm going to open this up, and I will show you. We want to move these two down to the bottom. Unfortunately, holding Shift does not allow you to select multiple. And the reason we want to put these all the way at the bottom is we've got to delete all these additional ones. And once I click on, say, existing guardrail right and delete it, it's going to push it all the way to the top again. So I just have to keep clicking down. Rather than doing that, we use the smooth down command. Go all the way until you hit the bottom, which there is a lot of stuff being annotated in this file. and it just had an error. So I'm going to restart. So bear with me here. And I've had that happen before already, where you're messing around on that list. It will cause you the need to restart. So when I delete, I'm actually going to go pretty slow, or slower. I don't want to say pretty slow, hoping that it doesn't require me to restart. And back to the 3D. Explorer. Windows standards. Expand this. Annotation groups. One for the demo that we just made. And you'll still see like it moved down the left, the right's up here somewhere in between. There we are. So it didn't just lose all that. That's at the bottom. I'll just come in here now, just start removing. And I am going a little slower to try to avoid that crash. I'm hoping I can do it where it won't crash on me. Okay, so now that I have this, if you're wondering why when we ran the original orientation group, why the slope didn't show up and what we're going to do is a little bit different, or how it's different. I don't fully know the reason at this point. However, if I were to take a guess, it would be this location section. So I'm going to open this thing up. And right now, off the bat, you'll see this is the filter that's in there. I'm sure someone like Mitch could figure this thing out. I don't have the time to figure this out, so I'm going to delete a bunch of these things. And I'm going to show you how to do it the way that I know. Instead of using all segments, which would be like existing ground, or the each lane line would have its own segment. We're going to choose the segments we want to have labeled under this cross-section left slope or left annotation group, or whatever it was called. So select segment from template. So we want the left side only right now. And we're going to select the ones that we want labeled. Flat, we don't want flat labeled. It's going to give us 1 to infinity, so it's not one we want. And we should just be able to click on the segments. You will notice that this is not State Road 700. This is some general template that they stuck in there. So like 700 doesn't have any curb or this thickened edge sidewalk. So even though these are selected, not a big deal, but we want to go in and actually select 700 because some of those lines may have certain names that aren't the same as that one. So here's 700's template. This is what we're going to see for most of the project. So you got a front slope, or a shoulder, and then all these various lines. We'll do it for the guardrail section. That one's flat. We won't label that. And that's pretty much it there. And then I'm not sure what 700 update is. Mitch could go into that a little bit more, but for now, I don't see anything else sloped on that side of the guardrail. So that should be it for the left side. And we'll go back in and we'll do the same thing on the right side. Before we leave here, we want to apply expression changes. So that's, we got rid of this formula and we selected a bunch of different points that we wanted to have labeled from the template. And do the same thing on the right. So we're going to remove all these. Change this to list of segments. We're going to select it from the template. And even though this isn't part of it, it doesn't hurt for us to go ahead and pick it. It's not part of our current 700 design. As long as the lines are labeled as expected in the template, it shouldn't matter. If it's got a custom label, then we need to go into whatever template that is and make sure we copy that, make sure we get that, select that label or that custom line. And the update, there's one right there. This one's going to give me a little bit of trouble. There we go. And close this. And again, apply the changes. So close that. And in here, we've got our left and our right side set up. I do want to point out that if you wanted to annotate more than just the left slope and the right slope, there are ways to do it. If you want to do the pavement, just click the pavement lines in that template that we were just looking at. But let's see, there's a whole list of things, and that's a lot of the stuff that we ended up just deleting under here. So like existing right-of-way line, proposed right-of-way line, and then all the utilities that we have. So we can do more if we wanted to, but for the purposes of 700, we already have a lot of that stuff labeled. We don't want to add a second label to it, so we're just going in and adding the labels that we want. Ideally, I think at this point, if we wanted to do this right, I mean, we've had this thing set up for a while. We don't want to go in and change all the cross sections now, but we could have probably set all these different annotation labels up and then just be able to go back in and rerun the section. But there's stuff beyond, I guess we did things that we didn't really know how to do correctly before that we don't want to lose. So now here's how you go ahead and add it in. Under drawing production, drawing model annotation, click that and annotate the drawing model. If you hit remove drawing model annotations, it's going to remove any that's currently here. So like your utilities, the grid will disappear. I think we actually did the fence by hand, so that one's probably not going anywhere, but the existing right-of-way would probably go. So now what we do is we want to click on the right annotation group. That's the one we just made, annotation demo for the video. Click through, and this should only apply right now to this model here, and nothing happened. Why is that? Could be that it's the super elevation and I didn't click on that right template. Let's try this template, see if something comes through. If not, then I screwed up something, but need to go back through and fix that. That should have held on demo, so I don't know. Maybe I picked the demo one. Or I didn't pick the demo one. There you go. So there's our 1-6 and our 1-4 on that side. I go to another one, it's not going to have it. But if I apply it to the whole drawing, which I'll do now for the sake of this demonstration, it should apply it everywhere. So we'll do all model drawings and the demo, And just give it a minute. Doesn't take too long. So I should be able to go to flip to any one of these, and it should have the slopes labeled now. So that's it. I think that's everything that I wanted to show for this. All right, thanks a lot.